This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1265 of Horse Tip Daily, your almost everyday morsel of helpful hints, useful facts, and practical techniques for horse folks. Brought to you today by Hyndsight Vision Systems. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. This episode, Dressage Today contributing editor Hillary Hebert joins the Dressage Radio Show co-hosts Reese Koeffler-Stanfield and Philip Parks to chat about how we can apply scientific learning theory to building clearer communications with our riding aids. And we'll get right to our tip after this from Hyndsight Vision.
Hyndsight Vision Systems offers horse owners the Journey, a portable wireless rear vision system with tons of versatility. The Journey is a totally wire-free camera and monitor system to give you peace of mind while trailering your horse. It includes a cab-mounted monitor and a standard or wide-angle camera that can be mounted in your trailer to help avoid collisions and keep an eye on your horses. The camera can be moved so you can monitor horses tied to your trailer or in a portable corral during an event. The system can accommodate 4 rugged water and temperature-resistant cameras, which you can also move them to your barn or pasture to keep an eye on your horses. Visit www.hyndsightvisions.com, Hynd spelled Hynd, to order yours today.
Yeah, I like to think about this. I was, about training young horses, and I think, how many have we done this year? Just a couple this year. But I mean, essentially what we're doing with these young guys is, teaching the horse to respond to voice aids on the lunge line. And then when we get on their backs, we substitute the voice aid for the leg aid, using them in combination, to train the horse. When you first get on a very young horse, and I think everybody who's sort of done that, had the first ride on a horse, or, they don't understand anything. It's not like a kick on the side is a universal understood aid for a horse, or a pull on the reins for brakes or anything like that. I mean, we train them to do that. So like you guys are talking about, you can train them to do anything as long as you reward them for the behavior that you expect to a stimulus. So as riders, sometimes when we have our amateur riders or, in lessons, and we just have a situation that's not working, the horse doesn't go forward from the leg or whatever, we say, use the voice, use a cluck, or use a little bit more whip, and sort of try and get around the, a rider having maybe a weaker leg or, weaker arms or whatever, to try and just achieve the desired goal in another way, and then maybe substitute back in for the quieter leg or something like that. So, I mean, training horses can be very hard, but you can figure it out. You can think of different ways that maybe you haven't approached before to get the desired response from the horse and to help the horses understand better. I mean, I like it so much because there's just so many different ways to achieve the same goal and to do something else. So I think that, use your brain. I think that's the most important thing in training is figure out what's going to work for you and your horse. And that's
so. I had a huge light bulb moment when you said that. Like always, whenever you're talking, because you're so smart. This is my dorky mom comparison, first of many you guys will get to hear. But we were talking today about how you can teach little babies sign language. I'm sure everyone knows that this is a popular thing that people are starting to do. And there's a concern that it makes kids slow to develop language, because why would you learn to talk if you can develop sign language?
Yeah.
But it's interesting what you just said with the lunging, where you teach a horse to go forward, for example, with the voice, so that when you get on, you can use the voice and then also translate the leg. I'm going to repeat something that I take my child to baby gymnastics, so you can judge away. But they said today in class is that
sounds like fun.
Yeah, I think baby gymnastics sounds fun.
When kids learn sign language, they actually are better at language skills. And this is now my connecting. My instructor didn't tell me this because she doesn't ride dressage, but when a horse learns the voice aid, they will be better at processing the, leg, seat, hand, or whatever aid, right, to go forward or back, because they understand the first. And it's the reverse. Like, you have a baby who can't talk and you say to them, more, I want more food. And then you pinch your hands and push them together for the sign. And then you give them more food, or you say more book, more of anything. Every time you do it, you say more and you pinch it together. Kids can't talk as fast as they can sign. And so it allows them to process. So there will come a day where they will start pinching their hands and pushing them together to ask for more before they understand the way to say the word more. I argue, it's sort of an easy connection. Horses can much more easily understand if you say, canter, and they go forward, versus outside leg back, inside seat bone forward. I push my weight on and on and on. That's very complex for them. But if you say canter, they understand it.
They just do it. Yeah.
Make it simple. And I like that, because to me, this is the light bulb part, is if you or your horse are having a misunderstanding of the aids, how can you go back to something that's easier, right? Like, if you can't get the canter, how can you get an aid and then overlap it again with the, riding aid for it? And it might be that you can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth a try, right? It's worth a try. Go backwards a little bit to go forward again. I think most of our horses were taught most things on the lunge line before anything else. So,
you taught them, and that's the reason you're teaching, and you spend that much time so that you can say that. Or even your instructor, we've all been there when you say trot and the horse trots. So I have some horses that I can't say trot. I have to spell it or say T or say something, because they know they're listening to me, because I train them, and they're looking and listening to me saying, oh, she's telling me to trot. But,
and the rider goes, I didn't do anything. And you're like, okay, that's okay.
Oops.
I'm sure we've all had those moments too. Yeah. We're like, that was a great transition. The rider was like, I was just sitting there.
Well, and I think you can then break it. You can break it down. So it kind of does become a trick for a second. But then you can get back to the riding. I know a person who will remain nameless, who's a very elite rider, told me one time that they were having a hard time teaching their horse piaffe passage transitions and from, riding. And so what they did is they got on the horse's back, and someone in hand helped them with the piaffe passage transition. And when that happened, they tickled the horse with their left hand, I think, with the two left fingers. They itched their withers, and then they praised them, and they did it about 100 times. Then they took away the ground person, rode the passage, and went to do the piaffe transition by just tickling their withers.
Just doing the tickle.
Yeah, sure. That's the same thing.
Then the horse did it.
Yeah.
Then they went back and added the aids to it. So then you can start to refine it, right? But first you have to have them understanding that you even want the piaffe to begin with. But I thought that was an interesting thing, because even, Olympic riders have sort of their, I can't canter, I have to ask canter. It just is more advanced than that.
Well, there you have it. You can find links to today's guests, as well as lots more tips, at horsetipdaily.com. Make sure to have all of your favorite Horse Radio Network shows with you wherever you go by downloading the free Horse Radio Network app for your iPhone or Android. Just go to your app store and search Horse Radio Network, or you can subscribe via iTunes. And thank you again to today's sponsor, Hyndsight Vision Systems. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements made by guests on the Horse Tip Daily. Please use your own judgment when listening to the tips on this show.